Hey folks, we have been trying to, ever since we crowdfunded, the intention was we would write blog post updates every week, few days. And I've been trying to do that for the 5 or 6 months since that happened, and really struggling to find the time to sit down and write these things down. So I thought I would try and take it from a different tack and do some videos. It seemed like a really easy thing to pull my phone out and have a chat for a few minutes, 5 minutes, something like that, and give you guys a bit of an update as to what is going on in the company, what we're doing on our day-to-day, and where the whole project is at with St Philip's Brewery and with Finzel's. So the builders went on site about 3 weeks ago down at Finzel's. They've been doing a chunk of work. I've been down there almost every week since then, having a look at what they're up to. But honestly, there's not a great deal of exciting building work happening. The very first thing they're doing is replacing all of the insulation panels on the inside of the roof. So you go in and they've cleaned the place out. There was a bunch of pigeon debris lying about on the floor and pigeons everywhere. So they've cleared the mess and also got the pigeons out of the building. And then put nets up to stop any more going in there. So the place looks cleaner. The electricity's on now as well, which it wasn't before. So there's actually lights on. So when you walk in, the place looks like a functioning premises rather than a derelict building. But all they're really doing is replacing those roof panels. So when you go in, there's not a great deal of progress happened from an actual building perspective. But the very first things that will be happening beyond that will be in the coming weeks. I'll try and take photographs as things actually happen that you can see and look exciting. I'll try and take photographs and send them over. At St Philip's itself, we closed the tap room for the winter last Friday. We had a great summer in the tap room, so rather than opening as we had been previous years on a Thursday, Friday and Saturday, because we knocked the tap room down to put the 3 new tanks, new HLT and the canning line in. So we demolished the tap room, cleared all that space, put the new drain floor in, all part of the project of the crowdfund. We had no permanent tap room. It made it really difficult for us every single Friday to try to set the tap room up. So rather than opening a Thursday, Friday and Saturday as we had done the previous years, we just opened on a Friday. But it actually didn't affect our trade too greatly in there. It meant we were busier on most Fridays, so we definitely didn't make as much money as the previous years over the 3 nights. But we didn't lose 2 nights worth of trade. It was much more condensed into one night, as always in the tap room. Really weather dependent, so nice nights, clear nights, not raining nights, really busy nights where it's windy and blowy, just empty. But that's always expected. I think in a place like our tap room is out in an industrial estate, it's always going to be a case where it's going to be very weather dependent. Next year, we were up at Dea and did an event with Magic Rock and Dea, so we brewed a collaboration with them on Friday. I saw a few investors up there actually, so it was nice to see our group heading up there and drinking some beers. We brewed a collaboration during the day and then had an event on at night time. Had some of our beers pouring, some Magic Rock beers pouring, and obviously some Dea beers pouring. But they had some heaters suspended from the ceiling, which I thought was a really good idea, a really simple thing, but it made such a difference to sitting inside a big industrial unit. And it was a horrible night on Friday, really blowy, rainy and windy, but it was still a very cosy environment to sit in. So I think over the coming months we'll put some heaters up in our roof and try and make the warehouse brewery area in front of where our tap room is going to go a bit more comfortable. So the brewery itself, we have had we had 3 new tanks arrive in July, new HLT and the canning line all installed through July. So it's really just been August and September that we have actually been brewing into that equipment. Our usual turnaround time in beer from brew day to packaging is about 3 to 4 weeks. So we've only really seen from those 3 tanks a couple of cycles of beer coming out of them. But that's really translated into turnover in the last sort of like 4 weeks thereabouts. I'll see the first cycle of those new tanks there. So we saw a fairly significant increase in our beer sales versus our partner beer sales. So yeah, we sell beer for people like Verdant, Buxton, different people like that as well. So that they always have been a part of our turnover. So it's a fairly significant leap in left-handed giant beer sales, meaning that we had one of our biggest months of left-handed giant specifically sales of about £70,000 in September. And last I looked, the back end of last week, so only about 10 days into this month, we were about £45,000 already, with a bunch of canning runs booked in for the rest of this month. So we should see another jump up in turnover, and we hope where we can get to off the back of the 10 tanks operating consistently. Are being filled consistently. We hope we can get left-handed giant turnover up to in the region of something like £85,000 a month thereabouts, and we can be pushing towards £1 million worth of left-handed giant specifically turnover, as opposed to any or not including any guest beer, which would mean that left-handed giant, I think last year was about 400,000 of our own beer, so it was about half and half between our own beer and guest beer. So we'd be seeing more than a 100% increase in production of our own beer off the back of the new brewery and the increase in tanks that we had back in January, and also the increase in tanks in July itself. The St. Philip's brewery, we have pretty much finished the expansion work that we did off the back of the crowdfund. The new tanks, canning line, the HLT, new drained floor in where the tap room used to be, and where the new tanks and the canning line are, and the new mezzanine as well, which has created a whole bunch of space for us to store malt up on. The final thing that we're doing is waiting for our new tap room equipment to arrive. So frustratingly, the order for it was placed back in July. At the same time, beg your pardon, the order for that was all placed in June at the same time as all the equipment. We ordered all the new tanks, canning line, etc. And there's been huge hold-ups in that. So the most simplistic thing, which was the taproom bar, the counters, sinks, where we're going to hold the glass wash and all the rest of it. So the most simplistic thing has been the thing that's taken the longest. It was supposed to be here back in August, which would have meant that the last month or two of the tap room operating, we would have had it back in its semi-permanent position. So it'll be underneath the mezzanine. When you walk into the brewery, you'll be facing the bar itself. We'll have a fridge down the side with cans all stacked up. It should be really, really nice. Even with it being within the operating brewery, it'll make it far, far easier for us to set up on a weekend. So we should go back to Thursday, Friday, Saturday openings. We make it much clearer and tidier in there. So it was supposed to have happened before we closed the tap room down. Didn't, unfortunately, down to delays in the equipment arriving. But it's all due to arrive next week or two. So the intention through the winter is that we'll open the tap room on the first Friday of every month. So I'm not sure exactly what date that translates into in November, but the next opening we should have all that equipment in there. So if you come down, you'll see it as it will be for the winter, and then as it will be for the entirety of for the future, I guess, next summer. But going forward, it'll look really, really nice. It'll be far, far more comfortable for you guys, for customers to come into. But far, far better for us to work with, easier for us to work with, cleaner for us to work with on a day-to-day basis. And once that then that really should be the extent of the St. Philip's sort of development have happened. And then in that case, it's just a case of us trying to work with that new facility and make as much beer as we can out of the 10 tanks that we have there at that point, getting our feet under us, getting used to operating on that facility before we build the second brewery down at Finzel's. So I think that's the extent of it right now. I've went on a bit longer than I intended to. That was about 10 minutes. I guess the first one was probably always going to last a bit longer. I'll try and drop these on every few days, maybe every week. I'll do our very, very best. I think one of my real desires round about bringing investors into the company was not just bringing cash into the company, but bringing people into a community around about the brewery, people that knew us, people that felt actually part of the brewery itself, and weren't just in it for a hands-off investment. I hope that doing this, having a conversation, will only increase your feeling of transparency and involvement on what's going on a day-to-day basis in the brewery. So I hope you enjoyed listening. If you've got any feedback on the video and the content, on the nature of the content, then drop it over to us. So thank you. Cheers.